Well, hi everyone. Happy Sunday.
Happy
We're here.
Sunday.
We're doing it. We're falling into reading. Falling. Now we're falling. It's because we're toward the end.
Yeah.
Before
It's
we
the
were just
penultimate.
That's right. That's right. It's so soon.
I know. But minor spoiler for the non-spoiler section. I do feel like this was an improvement upon some of our other reads. So
I
more on that
would
later.
agree.
So we're climbing up in ratings, but falling
Yes.
down into reading.
Absolutely. Which I appreciate, as well as this cupcake, James. Thank
Love
you
it,
for the cupcake.
James.
Hello, Crazed. How's it
Hey.
going? Good to see you. We do have a not sponsored today. We are talking about The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle, which you have a lovely physical copy of right there.
Yeah.
I
Look
do
at this
not
guy.
listen
Look
to
at
it.
that. So cute. The
With the
postage stamp.
cat.
It's beautiful.
Love.
Gracie, a star.
Oh, truly. Truly a star. Still crying. No spoilers, still crying. Hello. How's it going? Hi, Dad. How are you? I hate nerds. Hi,
Oh, Mary,
Mary.
I hope you're getting the feeling better.
I'm hearing she is, which is great. Hello, Chris. Good to see everyone. Okay, so the not sponsored today. This was Jessica's idea. All credit to Jessica. She was like, "Hey, remember Emily?"
Who could forget?
Who could forget? If you guys don't recall or you weren't there, perhaps I did take this out of my parents' attic, and it is still here. It says "handle with care" on it, and I have to because it is falling apart. But this is straight from the early 90s. It is mid 90s. I don't know when it was, but it is my authentic, with my name on it and everything, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen fan club box that I received when I was in the fan club as a youth, a young child.
It says private on the cover too. I never noticed that the first time.
And I shared it with everyone.
Yeah, our main character of our book, no spoilers, is a postman that's retiring, about to retire. And, you know, what we thought was like, what are some letters we could read? We don't have fan mail, obviously. So some letters we're going to read are from the infamous Emily, president, CEO, queen of all of the Mary Kate and Ashley fan club. Is that what it's called exactly? Or did I
Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen fan club. Perfect. And this particular, what I am sharing is the online fan club, which she would send out digitally via email. And this one in particular that I just pulled out randomly, it is dated 1997, February 1st. This Emily, this was on a Saturday morning. So Emily was getting up early. She is typing
chilly.
it out. Yeah.
February, potentially.
Specifically, this is volume 2, issue 1. Issue. She called them issues.
What's like the end of, what do you think demarks like an end of a volume? Like a new movie comes out, or?
I wonder that too. I wonder how many there actually were, because like my dad printed these out, of course. I didn't have an
Larry,
email
a
address.
hero.
You truly. And they're still in this box, which I love so much. Because they're also very long. I love how like all of the addresses were at the top too. Not to dox everybody on the fan club mailing lists, but like there's just like a big thing of it, which I love so much. And you can tell these are probably parents' emails. Like there's no way these are like kid emails, you know. But let me just break it down. Let me break down what kind of a newsletter that she would send out. And I love the little like squiggles. She really put in the time. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Go, Emily.
The details.
Where is she at these days? I don't know.
She's a graphic novel artist now. Ooh. What if she was? What if we have read an Emily?
What if she was?
Wait, are there Mary Kate and Ashley? Sorry, I don't mean to derail us, but there have to be Mary Kate and Ashley comics, no?
Not to my knowledge. If there is, leave me a comment because I have no idea. The amount of Mary Kate and Ashley merch Kristen still owns. This is it. I'm sure I had more back then. Like I probably had t-shirts and stuff, but to my knowledge, this is all that was in the attic.
Girl, there are Mary Kate and Ashley comics. I know what you're getting for Christmas. Is Mary Kate and Ashley in action. Episode 1 is called The Makeup Shakeup. Let's go save the world.
Are they like
ellipses
issues?
again. I don't know.
I love everything about this. Hello,
But
Bar.
you could win free cartoon artwork autographed by Mary Kate and Ashley, sponsored by America Online. Sorry. Hi, hey Bar.
I should have known. I never thought about them having comics. I love that. I love that so much. Well, at the top of this newsletter, it says remember. And then there's a colon and a lot of spaces and some dashes. Remember that Lizzie's birthday is coming up, February 16th.
Wait.
Do you know who Lizzie is?
Oh, yeah. The Scarlet Witch?
Elizabeth Olsen of the Marvel Universe?
Remember, her birthday's coming up.
We'll never forget Lizzie's
Y'all don't
birthday,
forget.
February 16th. Hey Bar, it's okay. You joined at a great time. We appreciate you being here. So we're never gonna forget Lizzie's birthday is February 16th.
Never.
No. Love that so much. Also remember to check out the new, that's in quotes for some reason. So is it new? Emily. Mary Kate and Ashley online homepage coming February 8th, in parentheses, I think.
My favorite, listen, I want to say, I really respect Emily's transparency. She's not making bold claims. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's like, I elected myself. In the electoral college, I had all the votes. And I'm just going to be honest, I'm not sure, but I want to give you a heads up, like maybe.
Right.
And I appreciate that transparency.
I do too. She's not making bold claims. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now comes to the part where it says survey.
Oh.
You know the survey that I asked in the last newsletter? Emily, I don't. Here it is.
It's been a while.
Oh, so we don't remember. She's going to share it with us. Okay.
Good.
If you could meet, actually it says met. If you could met Emily.
Okay.
Maybe you need an editor. If you could met Mary Kate and Ashley, what would you do with them? Where would you met them?
Again?
Emily? Twice?
A second met? We've had debates before about the age of Emily.
Yeah.
And the past tense, present tense, future tense mix up is like a check in the column for potentially younger. Potentially.
Right. I would think so. Would you give them anything?
What?
The responses spelled RESPONCES.
Yeah, this is a young person.
Will be in the next newsletter. The best one will get a surprise. Oh, wow. And then it goes, well, I had 2 finalists and it was very hard to choose the winner. But the winner is, and there's a space where there should be a name. Congratulations. Spelled all kinds of wrong. I'm not even going to.
Not congratulations, blank congratulations.
There's a space, like a few spaces where there should be a name. And then it says congratulations again.
Okay.
There's not even an L in this congratulations. So,
I've been defending her ethics, but I do want to say, like, was she picking based on quality of responses? Like, because what if it was like, what would you give them? What if you don't have a lot of money to give them something fancy, but then someone else gives them a Lamborghini? Like,
well, and here's the
I don't think that's very fair. It should have been a draw.
And clearly, there should have been a name here. So Emily really goofed up.
Emily gave herself the prize.
Well, and then she shares the entry that won. So, like, I guess if you wrote that, you would know. But she gets a Mary Kate and Ashley surprise mailed to her. I don't know what that is. Here's her entry. Whoever this is, anonymous. I would like to do something or go somewhere with them where they could have fun like little girls should.
Okay. I mean, someone who's attuned to the exploitation of child actors. We love to see it. Okay.
And not have to worry about them being, quote, little superstars.
Whoa.
Or about having the press hounding them.
Emily is the press.
It's like, were the press really hounding them? I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, a bit, but like.
We're going to get a book. Prince Harry gave us a book. Britney Spears has given us a book. We are getting, if we don't, it's a real disservice, honestly, to Emily and the whole community. All of you who subscribe.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. Someplace like Discovery Zone. Pause, rip to the goat. Discovery Zone was my favorite thing as a child. Loved it.
It was really cool. And they always had demonstrations outside. Do you remember that? Like they would be doing some like demonstrations outside to get people to come in. At least where ours was. Ours was inside the mall.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah.
don't think I remember that. I do remember the name tag ball. Did you guys have those?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. Or Chuck E. Cheese's would be fun.
Sure. We downgraded a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true. Discovery Zone better. S tier. I don't know if I would give them anything. If there was something they really wanted, I'm sure they could get it for themselves. Okay, girl.
Hey, no lies detected. No lies detected.
A homemade gift like friendship bracelets or a picture would be a gift I would consider giving them. All right.
We love it. Yeah.
We love a straightforward answer.
That.
Yeah. So that was the top winner. There was actually, well, I don't know what the gift is yet, but here's the second runner-up. Oh, well, hold on. This is a sentence. Here is the second runner-up is Wendy.
Okay, Wendy.
She also gets a special surprise. Congratulations. Okay, spelled
differently than the first time?
Than the last one and real bad. Just threw an L in there somewhere for fun.
Emily.
Okay. Congratulations to both. Okay, new survey. Oh, she answered a different survey question. Oh, wait, no, this is... Oh, we just don't get to see her answer. Okay, this is the new survey that we answer for the next one, okay?
There's a survey every time?
I guess so.
Okay.
Have you met a lot of work to be in this club? Yeah, it is. It is. Write me and tell me what it is like. Write with the subject as I met MKA. So I know what you were talking about. Emily, just love how straightforward.
Is Emily really getting that many emails that she needs to denote the subject line?
I'm very curious.
Come on, Emily.
Oh, questions. I got lots of questions this time. Send in more. She got lots of questions. Okay. All right.
We do know that because last time we read an Emily email, she was answering. She's like, I don't know, but I think. Oh, Bar wants to know what the heck is going on.
Okay, Bar, you may have missed it. I know you're a youngin', so you may not even understand what I'm talking about, but this is my Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen box set. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen are the older sisters to Elizabeth Olsen, who is in the Marvel movies as Scarlet Witch. Okay, so there you go. They were very famous as children when I was a kid, and I loved them. So this is an email newsletter from the late 90s that my dad printed out.
I was going to say that's the best part is and Larry was subscribed to it.
Yes.
So that's the best part.
Larry was subscribed to it. He printed it out and put it in the this box that I found in the attic. And it's very funny because it's ridiculous. So there we go.
Wow.
Emily was definitely 8 years old at the time of this newsletter. I would say.
You know, I'm going to guess, like, there's no way for us to know if we're right or not. I still think we should do an expose episode, maybe like when it's February and it's very cold and there's nothing to do. This is the move. But I've really debated this, and like my best guess based on this evidence and the evidence from the last time we read some of Emily's stuff is like she's 14, like 13 or 14, doesn't have the best grammar, but is also under an immense amount of pressure being the president of the fan club. So like, you know, let's give her a little credit. So I think 13, 14, maybe.
Perhaps. And I mean, she needs to fix her spelling, but okay. So the questions are, I'm going to skip some of them. Some of people are just asking how many movies they had, and I guess we couldn't Google that at the time. Understandable.
You could only ask Jeeves.
I was going to say
during computer class. And
right. We could probably ask Jeeves, and there just wasn't time. Bar also doesn't understand these references. Will they ever make a Full House reunion? 1997. They were asking about Fuller House, and they didn't even know.
Well, these are just questions. Emily's not answering them yet.
So Emily is answering them.
Okay, what is Emily's prediction?
She says it is not planned to, but the might sometime later in 2000. It was later in the 2000s. She's not wrong. Wow.
A prophet among us, honestly, Emily.
Honestly, so great. People asked how old they are. Apparently, again, Emily knows everything, so she'd know. The twins are 10 years old. They would be 11 in June. So at the time of this reading, they were 10. What are their favorite foods? Would you like to guess?
Chicken.
Ashley likes Mexican food.
Oh.
Mary Kate likes Italian.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Am I young or y'all old? No, you're young.
Both for me. I don't know. Kristen can speak for herself.
It is. Fuller House was not amazing, but I watched it. Yes, same. I didn't finish it, but
Really?
yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I fell out of it at some point.
Listen, it wasn't amazing. No,
No.
absolutely not. But I actually was entertained. I had a good time with it.
I was too, and I loved
can't
the little boy in it.
Oh, the little son of
he was
Candace
the
Cameron
best.
Bure.
Yeah,
he was the best.
Part beating this young is art. 23 is not even that yet. That's okay. That's how you feel when you're 23, but not 10 years later. I've got to keep it real. And me saying that makes me old.
A whole decade.
Yeah. Let's see. People are asking where they live. It seems like shouldn't give out that information.
She probably just gives like a city, right?
She said San Fernando Valley, California. So
yeah, it's gonna be hard to find them.
Yeah. How do I get in their real fun club?
Oh, there's a second tier.
You can get one of their older videos. Again, they're not spelled correctly.
This is an MLM. Emily is promoting an MLM.
You're right. Thorn Mansion, SeaWorld, etc. And it has a slip to join the club and a $1 discount.
Let's go. We were always mailing things in. We were constantly mailing like dollars and checks through the mail. What were we doing?
Yeah. Oh, if you wondered how old Elizabeth Olsen was at this time, how old is their sister Lizzie?
Like 4?
Lizzie's 7 years old.
Oh, I thought there was a bigger gap.
Yeah, not
just
that
3
much.
years. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll be 8 when February 16th rolls along.
No, never forget Elizabeth Olsen's birthday.
Also, how old is their brother Trent?
Hmm.
Trent is 12 and will be 13 in May.
He was older. In Brother for Sale, they were selling their older brother? Yes. I thought it was like a little brother, like they were picking on him.
It would have made more sense, right?
Bold. True icons.
This one's great. How are they dealing with their parents' divorce?
Oh my God. I can't wait to see how Emily tackles this.
Emily, they get along now with their stepmother.
Did they not previously?
I guess they did.
Wait. Theory. Does the stepmother have kids? And is one of those children Emily?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, how would she know? How would
or maybe
she know?
She's like best friends with the stepsister?
She's got to be an insider of some sort. We got to figure this out. Oh, where does their dad live now? Okay, why are people wanting either in San Francisco or Los Angeles? I forget. Emily, the queen.
Very different.
Yeah, one of the two. California.
It's a tiny state. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Oh, this is good. Would they ever go on a chat room? Emily says, don't have the internet. But twice, Emily.
Is she trying to say Mary Kate and Ashley don't have the internet?
But did go on AOL to chat before. I will put the transcript in here if I get some requests to. Check out Betty Lee's page 4, the transcript. Betty, who's Betty?
First off, there's no way they didn't have the internet. They definitely had one of those early Mac like computers with the different clear colored backs. Like they were the first to get them.
They had every color.
They had one for every mood, like mood rings, but it was good.
And they had to have different colors because twins.
But I do like that Emily was like, I'm not going to put the transcript unless it's highly requested. Because like that's just too much of a demand on my valuable insider knowledge time.
100%.
I respect that. She a queen of boundaries, and I do respect that. Yeah.
Is anyone bored yet? I'm skipping around, but I mean, I just keep laughing. Is Mary Kate's favorite TV show Rescue 911?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Emily says, no, it is not. Her favorite TV show is Home Improvement. Get it together. She loved JTT.
So true. I mean, who didn't?
What are their friends' names? Emily says, I don't think they would tell.
You know what? True. They keep that locked down.
What is their home phone number?
No, who is at 5-year-olds? 6-year-olds are asking
Yeah.
this.
Emily says, I bet if you were famous, you weren't want fans calling you all the time. So no personal information is going to be given out. Does she have their phone number?
We love when Emily gets sassy. It's actually my favorite thing.
Wow.
All right, let's do 2 more.
Okay.
All right.
Well, there's a rumor section.
Mm.
Should we go here?
Let's go to it. Straight there. Yeah.
That Katie girl is weird.
Oh,
Who's
who's Katie?
She says Mary Kay and Ashley are going to run that page. Is that true? Oh, so it may be like a rival fan page? Was that what was happening? Ooh, Emily Sasson. She said, no, that is not true at all. Mary Kay and Ashley really don't have the time to run that page. And a lot of the information on her page is not true at all. If you really want to know what information I am talking about, then you can email me with the subject line rumors, or you can keep reading for one example.
So we're going to email Emily, right? Just to see. It like
Honestly,
literally cannot hurt.
I should be like, hey, you were saying if I wanted to know, I should subject like rumors.
No, yeah, use the subject line. Use
How
every
great would that
subject
be?
line mentioned. All right, one more rumor.
Let's see. The letter from the topic, the letter from the twins to her. Okay, so this is that example.
Okay.
Apparently there's only one rumor today. So first of all, they don't ride in a limo everywhere they go.
Okay.
Emily's assassin.
No.
They also aren't in Canada shooting a movie. Use your brain on most of these things. The things that she says. Ooh, still sassing about Kate.
Why would it be a jump to say they're filming something in Canada? What a logic goes against that, Emily?
It's
like, I
good
am
question.
using my brain, but okay.
You should know the real answer. Or if you have a question about what she wrote on her page, you can always email me and I can tell you the right answer. But she closed down her page, so hopefully there won't be any more trouble. She ran her off the internet.
Headcanon. Enemies to lovers.
Emily and Katie.
They meet up to hash it out. They strike up an email like a pen palship. 20 years later, one of them's had a divorce. The other one's just, maybe graduated from their doctoral program. Probably not Emily. No shade.
Plot twist, Katie was actually best friends with Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
And those weren't rumors. They were in Canada filming.
They were.
And they took a limo everywhere at the time.
Use your brain.
Use your
brain. That's my new insult.
Use your brain. Here's the thing. We're laughing about this, but what if I write this? What if this is my first romance novel that I publish independently? I email everyone on this list and I'm like, are you still around? Are your children around? They may be interested.
I wouldn't ask, are your children around? It feels a little...
Weird. That's weird.
Maybe not that, but I like the idea of emailing them. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Bar said, this is some high school drama tea. That's why I'm projecting like 13 to 14. Emily is like a freshman or a sophomore. And these are her celebrities of choice. Other people maybe are shooting for older people, but she's here to protect because she's older than them. Right. So she's like, respect their boundaries, respect my boundaries. And I do, Emily. I do. I have a lot of respect for you.
Maybe Emily's younger sister also is obsessed with the twins. So she got into them to like hang out with her sister.
I love it.
Yeah, we got a good headcanon going. Okay, so that is that is our not sponsored segment by Emily.
Those letters delivered to you by... What if Albert? He would be like,
I don't know what any of this means.
Who are Mary-Kate and Ashley? It is time for the Gold Star segment. As Kristen mentioned, we read The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle by Matt Cain. This was like Matt Cain's third book, I believe, but I think the first one that really like crossed the pond in a bigger way. And if it's your first time joining us right now for this section, we'll be spoiler free, talk about our overall thoughts, and then rate the book out of 5 stars, and then we'll let you know when we're going to be talking about spoilers. So, Secret Life of Albert Entwistle. Who would you like to go first, Kristen?
You know what? You can go first. I went first last time.
I know, like the last 3 times because I didn't want to. And that's a real friend. That's a real friend.
Yeah, if you really don't want to, I'll go. But
no, I
you're
can
welcome to.
go. I mentioned at the top, we haven't. I don't know that there have been any picks we had for this fall into reading choices that I like actively hated in any way. I really don't think so. But they've been pretty middling, or they were like decent but kind of had big drawbacks. Probably within 2 chapters of this guy, I knew we were taking a big leap above where we were. And I'm happy to report it stayed a big leap above. My overall thoughts on the book, and actually we should read probably like a little synopsis, I guess, for folks who didn't read it. So this one's a bit long, so maybe not this full synopsis, but to say Albert is in his 60s. He's worked as a postman for most of his adult life. He's a bit of a recluse. He lives a lot of his life in isolation. He kind of goes to work and comes home. His probably best and only friend at the beginning of the book is his cat, Gracie. A moment for Gracie. Look at that little tail.
I love Gracie so much.
She was a great character.
Sweet angel. She was an angel.
And he goes into work one day and he finds out there is a compulsory retirement age. So essentially he's going to be forced into retirement. He was not planning that because it's kind of the only thing he does. He doesn't know his identity outside of work. He says that a couple of times. And it kind of causes him to have a bit of a tailspin. There's another event early in the book that we won't spoil that also causes him to have a bit of a tailspin, and just sort of realize that like he's spent all this time putting his whole life into his work, that he's not really put work into making his own life. You also find out very early in the book one of the driving forces throughout the plot, which is he lives a life of regret. He had a romance when he was younger with another boy named George. And so you see some flashbacks with George, but you know that something's happened. You don't know exactly what. And you know that Albert, as an adult man, since that time is closeted. He's not out to friends, family, anyone. And so, yeah, you kind of follow him in his coming out process. You follow him in trying to figure out what happened between him and George. Will he ever find George again? And then you really follow also a secondary character, which they don't mention in the description, which is Nicole, who's in her, I think is she like in her early 20s, like between 19 and
19
21.
or 20, yeah.
And she is a teen. She was a teen mom, and so she has a young child, and that kind of puts her in a unique position in headspace. She's also Black in England and has experienced a lot of discrimination, which kind of runs parallel to Albert's younger experience being closeted as an adult as well. And so their friendship is also kind of at the heart of this book. But I think that's a good setup, right? Like that gives an idea of what we're getting into. My overall thoughts, I just felt like this book from start to finish was like a warm blanket with a nice cup of tea or hot cocoa or whatever it is you want to drink when it's like a little bit chilly outside. Not a storm outside, but a little bit chilly where you kind of want something that is very soothing. I found the prose in this book to be very engaging, and I found all the characters to have lots of personality. I particularly loved Albert from the start. It's important, I think, that you at least are engaged with your protagonist, which hasn't always been the case for us in some of the picks that we've had. I guess one big compliment or observation that I'll make, and then I kind of want to kick it to you for your big picture overall thoughts, was this is written in third person. So like Albert did this, right? Albert did that. And sometimes when you read books like that, at least for me, I feel like you don't get inside the head of the character in the way that you would in first person. But this book really used it effectively because, and for comedy a lot, because reading what objectively happened, but then having these italicized pieces in the prose where you hear Albert's internal monologue for just a second on that thing was hilarious, because there were times I would watch a situation like objectively unfold and then I would have an internal reaction like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And then Albert would have the same one. And I was like, I relate so strongly to this man sometimes. But then other times I would watch this really like sweet objective encounter, right? And he would be like having a panic or read it totally the wrong way. And it was almost like doing it in that way helped me get inside his head, maybe even better than if I saw things through his very I'm trying to think, like, tinged or dim perspective, I guess, at the beginning of the book. Like, so that's just one like big picture observation that I made that I think it was especially charming about the way the story was told. But yeah, I thought it was a warm hug of a book is like my big overall takeaway. What about you for a big overall takeaway?
I think that's the best way to describe it. It had the cozy vibes. Like you
Mhm.
need to sit somewhere under a blanket and read this. Although I didn't, because I did listen
You
to
did
it.
audio, right?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing at work. If you have Hoopla, it is available on there. The narration was so well done,
Oh, good.
so well done, and the parts that were from Albert's head,
Yeah.
the narrator like switched into the Albert voice because
Yeah.
he had an Albert voice, so you easily knew where that was happening,
Mhm.
which I really liked as well. Bar is asking, it is prose. So there's that. I didn't even know there was a cat on this cover, honestly, until
Me
Jessica
either.
pointed it out. Yeah.
No, really?
You
I thought it
pointed
was
it
the
out?
other way
Yeah.
around. Oh,
Oh, maybe
I
I did. Well, I don't remember.
I thought
It could have been me.
I picked this. I put this like image in places, and I never noticed this cat. But I thought it was Kristen.
Oh, I probably did that. I
Maybe
was totally
not.
like, oh my gosh, there's a cat.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder if the
think.
cat's in the story.
Yeah, also on the spine. Yeah, yeah.
I will point out as well, because you know I have to.
Mm.
Heads up on the cat.
We can tell you what happens if you want to know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
warning on the cat. Although I am a cat lover and I have problems with those things, I was fine. I cry at work? Maybe. Maybe yes. Crazed also listened to the audiobook, was very good. Yeah, it was really
I
well
love it.
done. And I don't want to skip my dad here. So going back to Mary Kate and Ashley times,
Yeah.
what do you think? Was this a year or two before we teamed up on the Quake servers and cheated? 1999, yeah. So it would have been like 2 years before. My dad and I would be on separate computers in the house,
Mhm.
go online to the Quake 3 arena servers.
I have no
Play
idea
in.
what that means. Is it a game?
It was a shooty shoot game. Yeah.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
for me. Don't like the shooty
they're like
shoot.
rocket launchers and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we could go into these servers in free for all mode. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's everyone against everyone, but we
Mhm.
would team up. So we felt like we were
Oh,
teaming
nice.
because like we were on a team.
But now it's like a whole there are like whole systems built on like questing together, right?
Yeah, it's so different now, but that was a good time.
Wow.
I
You have
was
such
quite
a
young.
great like father-daughter dynamic. He was printing out these emails. You guys were committing
No.
crimes together. That's why your family's
Larry's
just
the real
like
MVP here.
yeah.
Absolutely.
He needs that super dad mug that Jess has.
Oh yeah. Except he hates Superman, so.
Well, it's just a superhero.
Yeah, okay. Have you tried Google? I should try to Google Emily's email. Although she doesn't even have a last name on this, I don't think. So maybe
We're
one
gonna
day. I'm gonna
do
somehow
some
figure this out.
investigating.
Yeah, we're gonna do investigative reporting, 100%.
Oh, Chris says Quake is one of, I guess, his favorite games.
I love
Wow.
that, Chris. Yeah, Quake
Okay.
3 Arena specifically. We loved it so much. I miss it. I do. I genuinely miss it. Like, it's a good time. But yeah, I also love the cat. Of course, I love the cat. Nicole, that her side character. Really, all the characters in this I thought were really well developed. Even the very minimal work friends that he has, right, or work people around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly it's a cozy hug. You're right. That's exactly what it is.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you without getting into spoilers. Like, what or who were some of your favorite characters? Or like, I didn't know Nicole. I guess where this question is coming from is I didn't know Nicole was going to be a like POV character in any sort of sense. And I think she was so instrumental amongst a couple of others in how the story unfolded. And so I was just going to ask, like, who were some of your favorite like side characters, and kind of if you thought that they played a certain role in Albert's story that you really liked to see.
Yeah, I think Nicole's a huge one, and I really liked her. I would say perhaps even more than Nicole, her daughter plays a significant role on Albert's life. And
is it Renee?
Renee, I believe,
Renee.
yeah, was her nickname. So that was very sweet and lovely, and I love
Yeah.
seeing that. Um, and of course, Gracie plays a huge role in this, the
A
cat.
massive role. Yeah.
Yeah, huge role. So,
And
and of course, I
she
like the
has so
cat.
much personality.
Yeah,
She
just such a
does.
sweet like relationship, and it was just no matter what happens, it was lovely to see like the impact she did make on his life.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think I totally agree. Another standout for me was, I think her name's Edith. I'm terrible with names because I read also so much, so it all gets mixed up. But Edith is
I
right,
get
the
it.
older neighbor who's like older
Mm,
than Albert. Because one thing that's cool about Nicole is she's much younger. So as Albert is like learning about modern things like how to friend someone on Facebook or like how to try to find someone on Facebook, like she's there. But Edith is really interesting to me because I remember like this one scene with Edith where Albert recognizes she's lonely, which is like a really big deal at the beginning of the book because he makes an observation about himself that he was so isolated and lonely. He didn't give a thought that other people might also be lonely. So it's sort of interesting because like Nicole sort of takes him in a sense, and then in a way he takes Edith in. At least that's the way I was sort of perceiving it. At least at the beginning where he's paying her visits, and Albert's been like by himself romantically for a very long time. Whereas like Edith's story is she said, I had so many men, but I just was like, oh, there's probably someone better out there. So I always broke up with them and now here I am alone. And so you see loneliness depicted through a lot of different facets. Like Nicole has like her daughter at home with her, but she feels alone in her experience as like a young single mom, and she feels alone in her experience too, even in her relate. She has like a partner, Jamie, that we're not sure throughout the course of the book whether he's really dedicated. His parents are kind of against their relationship for various reasons. And so I liked seeing the core struggle of loneliness as one of the many struggles be depicted through many lenses, because like I think we can get so fixated on our own experience with something like that that we lose perspective that a lot of people are going through that. And it's a matter of like just taking the leap to make the connection, right? Because sometimes it's intimidating. You think like, oh, it's so obvious about me, and so I'm not gonna bother somebody, right? And I really liked that parallel of like Edith being older and lonely, Nicole being lonely in a different way and younger, and kind of Albert being in the middle.
yeah, yeah. I think there were so many great side characters, and that's a really great way to put it. Also, Bart is prose. um, oh yeah, Mary said when I listened to this audiobook, I posted it on Instagram and publicly stated it was 5 out of 5 stars for me. Just check Goodreads. Only 4 was listed. It's corrected now.
Oh, good. The
I,
correction to 5 stars, Mary?
yeah, that's what it
Okay.
seems like. I want to be Albert's friend.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
absolutely. Oh, I identify so much with Albert's life before
Oh,
his breakthrough. Yeah.
I think I feel like so many people can. I forget what the expression is, but sometimes people stay away from telling highly specific stories because they'll think nobody can relate. But in many ways, like a very highly specific, genuine story is one that is the most relatable because you're able to see the core human truth underneath of it more clearly than something that feels a bit more like manufactured. And I think that really stood out. One question I have, because it's not a spoiler, but at the end of the physical book, there are actually interviews Matt Cain did with um, gay men who are like Albert's age at the time of the book coming out. Were those included in the audio? And did you listen to some? Because I think that was really cool, I think, addition.
Yeah, they were included. Yeah, there was probably like 20, 25 minutes of it
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the audiobook. And that was really interesting and like cool to see. And it also shows like
Yeah.
he's like, hi, I did research and I like talked to
Mm-hmm.
people. And it was fascinating. It was completely fascinating. And that's one thing you get throughout this too, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
like, we weren't alive during a lot of this, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these
Sure.
times, a lot of the flashbacks, so to see like how it was for Albert, I know it may not be like nonfiction, but I mean, these were real
Mm-hmm.
stories, and you hear
Yeah.
those at the end. These were really kind of things happening, and that was really interesting and cool to see. And I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't to see like this kind of character depicted of this age having this
Mhm.
experience
Mhm.
is so rare too, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
certainly haven't read anything like it.
yeah, no, I feel like more stories are coming out now, but I do feel like it's still a novelty to see an older character. It's funny because I would call this book coming of age, and I was really sitting with like, what does coming of age mean? Because I talked to you that I read a book called 7 Year Slip, which is about someone in their early 30s, and I would also call it a sort of coming of age. And I feel like I don't know, like I've been wrestling, like, what does that even mean? Because usually when we say that, we're meaning like teenagers or like young adulthood. But I think this book and other stories like this prove that coming of age is like an expansive genre that maybe just encapsulates, I don't know what where I'm at in thinking about it is finding something out about yourself and like living your life more and more authentically to who you are, which does look different at different like phases in your life. Kind of like taking stock of like here's where I'm at, here's kind of where I want to be, and like taking the leap. So yeah, I totally agree. I wish we had more stories like this because especially for women, I feel like people think you're worthless after you're 40, you know, like Hollywood would certainly make you think that. And this was so inspiring to see him like discover a lot about himself and also take really big leaps for himself throughout the whole course of the book. Really liked that. It was very inspirational.
Yeah, and Bar's saying I need cupids like this, but with lesbians, for some reason, they're harder to find. That's, I think,
There are there are a
yeah,
couple, but I
you
don't
would
think
know.
any that are quite like this. Because you know, one question I did have for you is trying to think of a way to ask this without spoiling. I would, even though there is a romantic quest, like he's like, is George still alive? Will I find George? Will George forgive me for, again, it's like a mystery throughout the course of the book, which I do think is a great plot device because it isn't a book with a lot of action. I will say that. Like, but I was never bored, but I do think having that nice little through line, like, oh, I don't know, will he be around? Will he forgive him? You know, it, I think it did this really beautiful thing, which is when people come out, I think one aspect that can be misunderstood is like it's all about who you want to be in a relationship with, which isn't necessarily true. It's your sexuality is a huge part of yourself, how you interact with the world, totally outside of who you might be interested in like dating or marrying. And I thought that was I liked in this book a parallel that yes, you are trying to find out about George. Yes, you of course are like shipping George and Albert or just Albert with anyone because you want him to be happy now that he's made this discovery. But actually, without spoiling the ending at all, you don't get to the end of that mystery or the quest or that other piece until the very, very, very end. And so the vast majority of the book is just Albert coming into his own completely apart from like dating or anything like that. And I liked those parallels, like that to me, I think that was a really great coming out story parallel with like a real life experience, I guess.
I agree. And as much as like that plot device with George was like pushing everything
Yeah.
forward to like, and you were curious what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I also was like, okay, whatever happens with George, it's going to be fine because
Yeah.
he is in a better place now. And I feel like he started to think that too, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Not every part of coming out was like relying on how George would feel about him or
Yeah.
if he could even find him or any of that, which was
Or if he
incredibly
would
well done.
Yeah, or if he would even like date or marry any man. Like I really
Mm.
felt like because a part of it's not really a spoiler, the whole thing is this coming out process, but you there are other characters, like there is a gay couple that moves into the neighborhood at the beginning of the book, and you see Albert's attitudes towards them and watching how everyone's treating them to like eventually Albert gets to know them a bit better. And I think like that scene to me, the I won't say exactly what happens, but that scene with them in community towards the end was actually the highlight of the book because to me that is just as much the experience as maybe potentially finding a partner is like finding that community is just I think so important and I loved seeing him get to have that. So I agree, like once especially that scene passed I was like I wanted it to happen for him, but honestly I was just so happy with where we came. And I agree, I love the way you said this, like I think he knew too. He was like I'm gonna be okay either way, and I did really love that.
Yeah, and that's why, like you said, we didn't really get to that mystery aspect until like the very end, and we didn't
Mhm.
need more than that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Bar saying exactly, coming of age
Yeah.
shouldn't just be about teenagers. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
This book is a great reminder on how it's never too late to go after what you want. Well said, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider this book a romance? And I think Mary answered this well too. I'd call this a love story, but more so a love letter to someone's journey to find happiness.
Yeah. And learning to love yourself. Like, you mentioned some of the history pieces earlier. So obviously, like, rights and progress in different countries happened at slightly different times. Also, discrimination laws varied from country to country. So one of these that you see is like a criminalization of same-sex activity. And so age of consent being like over 21. And I liked these little, like you said, there were a lot of little historical tidbits, but I liked how I feel like if you're a reader that's not been in this position, and I don't mean like you're part of the queer community specifically, I think people face discrimination for all kinds of reasons, but this was good to be able to see not just like, oh, this law existed, but the mentality it then creates, because he is so terrified of somebody finding out, whereas like all of his peers at his age were like talking about their conquests, as he said, throughout the course of the book. And if you're constantly hiding and suppressing a part of yourself for that long, it is no wonder that you then have the inability, and he says this, like, I had nothing to really offer someone in a relationship because I didn't even know like who I was, because I've just turned off so much of who I was. And so laws like that aren't just about the immediate danger, but they're also about the like psychological warfare on like somebody's spirit. Same thing with how the AIDS crisis was weaponized in this book. And he would hear and make associations with men who got AIDS and would make assumptions, I guess, about them, and then making sure to say like, oh, I'm not like them, right? Like, and so there's a psychological piece that's damaging as well, but it never felt like a downer of a book. I did appreciate, like, I think it did a good job putting someone in that position mentally so that they could see not just like, oh, this was a really bad thing in history, but like, this is what it does to someone's mentality and whole generations. Because the thing about like Albert in so many ways is men in this generation, why I was kind of glad this was a story about men, is we don't have them anymore because of the AIDS crisis. Like, we have so few representing in the same number as maybe other pockets of the queer community, and this is devastating. And so I am glad that this story got told, in those interviews at the back were told, for that reason specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barrow's a good question. What's the tone of this book? Is it heavy, light, humorous?
I think it's cozy. The prose is engaging and light, and I think it is very humorous. There is some sad stuff in here, but I honestly would say the sad stuff for me read more as like bittersweet, because you always felt comforted by the narrator. That's my perspective, but I know, Kristen, you cried during one part, so maybe it was a little harder for you in
I did already mention I cried during a Gracie situation, but
do you think that weighed you down for long in the story, or what do you think?
Probably not. I mean, it was upsetting, and but it was nice. Like, it's it's one of those things. I feel like anyone as a pet owner will unfortunately eventually have to deal with, and it's terrible. But you live your life, right? You have to. It's anything. It's anyone dealing with any kind of loss, right? And Mary's thrown in a good word, heartwarming, because I feel like even after that moment, like, there were times when he would reflect on Gracie or like mention something, and then it's like, oh, it's like you said, even the heavy moments, like, if there are mentions of things, but like, you do feel like that's not weighing you down the whole time, and the narrator did a really great job at that. Mary
and maybe another word. Maybe I'm just heartless. I don't know. It does take a lot for a book to make me cry. Oh, Craze said heartwarming as well. You said this earlier. Another word maybe to add is inspirational, because as you pointed out, like, it was really exciting and inspiring to see someone like get to have this hoorah, and this discovery at the end of their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
The end. I wouldn't say the end.
Yeah, and any cat situation will make me tear up, because I think about my own cats.
No, I totally. In movies and shows, it's over for me. But for some reason, in books, I don't know. Maybe I'll read quickly during that section. I don't know. I just feel like it's a little different. But when you're watching a show, they got the music going. I can't. You have the video. Oh no,
I have the audio going, so it's like,
that's true.
I feel like that could have hit a little different, but also it wouldn't have mattered for me probably. But
That's so true.
so what is your star rating?
Well, did you have any cons? I was just going to ask you this.
Oh,
We didn't talk about any drawbacks, but
I wondered how it was going to end, but I
Mhm.
think it ended in a great way.
Me too.
And I didn't feel anything was lacking because I did wonder. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, if we're waiting this long to get to the
Mhm.
reveal of the situation and the mystery throughout,
Mhm.
what's it going to feel like? But I didn't feel like it was lacking actually. So
Yeah. Okay, I love to see it.
I mean, would I have preferred the cat to be around the whole book? Yeah, I would have. So that's maybe my con.
Maybe we'll talk about that first in the spoiler section so that we can process it as a group, as a community of Albert readers. I went a little bit back and forth on my rating because, and I'll walk you through my logic real quick. I was like, this is 5 stars because I couldn't think of anything that I would do differently. What held me back for a little bit, and I wanted to talk it out with you to decide really honestly where I landed, but what held me back is like you and I talk about this. Sometimes there's like an X factor in a book where you're like, you just know it's a 5 star. Like
Mm.
immediately you know. And this I don't know how to describe it. Other than yeah, heartwarming. The entire thing is heartwarming, but it's not like there's not a lot of big dramatic like things that are happening. And so but that's not a bad thing. Like when we talked it out, I was like, it's not what it was trying to do. And I do think there's still a lot of nuance that was captured in this book for being like kind of lacking in dramatics, I guess you could say. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I was like, maybe it's a 4.5, but no, I think it's a 5 star read. I really loved it. I would recommend it to pretty much anybody. And I can't think of what I would do differently. And I want to read more Matt Cain. So for me, I think it's a 5 star read. What about you?
Yeah, I think I kind of feel the same. Like when I finish a book, sometimes I'm just like immediately, yes, that's 5 star.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I'm reflecting back, we've talked for well, we spent some time with
Mm-hmm.
Emily, but we talked to her a bit now.
And it was great.
um and you're right. Like I think about if I were to give this 4 stars, I'd be like, why am I subtracting this star?
Yeah.
Like, what did it
Yeah.
do? So I think it deserves the 5. I think absolutely deserves the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um oh, Chris has some words. I am gonna be honest, it took a while for me
She
to get
said
into
some.
this.
Hold on. You said some words like Chris was coming in here slashing the book. Calm down. Not some words.
I just saw words
Chris
that
has
Chris
something to say.
the beginning
Some
felt
words.
clean to me, but around the middle it started clicking. I
Mm.
think that's fair. I mean, some
Yeah.
things, take some bit to get used to. And I think when you're in the beginning with him too,
Mm.
I immediately felt, a connection to Albert, and I think we
Mm-hmm.
can all relate to some of the things he was going through, but everything did pick up when he started opening up
Mm.
more, when he started, helping himself more.
Mm. I it was so interesting, Chris, that it was like the opposite for me. If I had anything that slowed down a bit, it was in the middle for me. I don't know. I just felt like there was a little bit too much, but this is my experience because I think, I was trying to pace myself. I started reading it almost right after our last show. And I was like, if I finish this with a whole week to go and I read like 3 other books, it's over for my memory. And, Crazed has already pointed out, we don't know the facts when we get on here. They're out of our brain. She's our fact checker. And hopefully we've done okay so far. But I think probably why it felt longer in the middle of me is I was making it longer. Like if I had really sat down, I probably would have sped through. But I totally get what you're saying, Chris. I've had books like that too, where the point of entry is just, it doesn't work at the beginning. And so it kind of slows you mentally. And I've put books like that away and then taken them back and not had trouble. So sometimes it's also like, I'm just sharing, like sometimes it's your headspace. And for me, I think the middle dragging this time around was the headspace I was in.
Yeah, I get that. Chris, what was your overall rating? And anyone else who read it, please let us know. Is this top 10 of the year?
I've read a lot of great books this year.
I have too.
It's definitely top 20. I
Mm.
have to really sit down with my top 10.
Yeah, I would too. It's a good question though.
Yeah.
Do you like more books like this that focus on a specific person and their person life story, or books that are more packed with plot like fantasy or sci-fi books tend to be? Me personally, like I prefer something like a smaller world like this. I don't know that I couldn't tell you the last fantasy book I've read that wasn't like a comic book. I feel like that's a little different, right? Or sci-fi. And it's not that I don't like the genres. I'm interested actually, but I do prefer a slice of life more than most things, or a contemporary.
I'm honestly 50-50. It depends on the year. It depends on my headspace. I've read less fantasy and science fiction this year, and I think it was just a matter of my headspace. But normally I kind of like a balance of both. I tell you what, I used to be like not super into what I would call like, because I would categorize this as general fiction, not necessarily as romance. Like if I was putting it on a shelf at a bookstore, I guess, not in my like, I have a much more nuanced cataloging going inside my mind palace. But like it's just the Sherlock reference. It's fine. But I think I would call this general fiction. And I think like even 5 years ago, I wouldn't read a ton of general fiction because I don't know. I just would think like, what's the point? I don't know. It sounds weird, but I was such a genre reader and it just felt like a little watered down. Like, but that was just a misconception on my part. And I think the older I get and books like this that capture a lot of nuance around aging and different aspects of the human experience so well, I actually appreciate these a lot because they help me like slow down and meditate a little bit more versus always trying to escape to like a fantasy place, like sci-fi fantasy, which I still love to do. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I like having that balance, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris gave it a 4. Awesome. I'm honestly surprised you got Edith's name right. Thanks, Chris.
Girl, I looked before the show. It was like, okay, write down these names because when we get to spoilers in a second, there's one name I will need Craig's help with. So I didn't remember them.
You're all. Like, Kristen's not gonna know either. You're right.
It's the co-worker with the young son that they have the fundraiser for.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it starts with an M, maybe like Miriam, Meredith. I don't know. We'll wait for Crazed. Yeah.
I also spread out my reading because I'm reading a few different books right now. Yeah. I tend to read more fantasy and sci-fi or thrillers, all plot driven. So I don't know how I'll do with a book like this. I would say if you're interested, Bar, like, and you haven't read something like this, maybe give it a shot. I also love thrillers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like I feel like for me, I mean, I probably did read some general fiction, but I made assumptions about myself as a reader more than anything. I would be like, I don't think I would like that. But in all honesty, I'd be like, how many books have I read? It's like when Kristen says she hates Superman. No, just kidding. Margaret. I got the M right. Let's go. That's like a B, right? Over in my overall rating of remembering names.
Nicole's story did start to feel repetitive with her constant concern about Jamie. Didn't ruin anything for me, but I noticed it. That's fair criticism.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe, yeah, I think to like add to that, and again, it didn't ruin anything for me either, but I felt like I was surprised she was a POV character. I did really love her and loved her story. But I do wonder what would this book have been like if there was a bit more of hers that was a bit more fleshed out, like not in a repetitive way, but like a little bit more even, but still leading Albert. Again, I don't think that was the point, but it is something I was curious about because I wonder if it felt repetitive because they didn't want to introduce like a whole new plot point for her, but they wanted to keep that thread. I don't know why I'm saying Matt Cain,
right,
wanted to keep that thread. I don't know. Oh, grandson. See, I'm failing. You're totally right.
Bar's open to try it. Bar, I think you also enjoyed the Brightfall series, right? As well. And I feel like that's just as small of a like slice of lifey kind of story. Just not a romance necessarily.
Yeah, one show, I don't know, Bar, if you have access, but parts of this reminded me of a show I found as a comfort show during the start of the pandemic, which is available on Netflix in the US, so I'm not really sure, but it's from the BBC and it's called Last Tango in Halifax. Now, it is a straight couple, like two older people, a man and a woman who, again, are like rekindling something from the past, but they're like old and trying to like, how do I find them on Facebook? So a lot of that stuff and like finding love late in life. But one of the one of them has a daughter who's actually, I think she's in her late 40s, so not like super young. She has like grown teenage kids who has a coming out story as well. So that's a really good one to sort of mesh the two together. Like it's not the main couple that's a queer couple, but I think it has a lot of similar elements and it's a real cozy show. It does have a little bit more in the way of dramatics, but not in any sort of like big scandalous way. It still felt a little cozy like this. Yeah,
Awesome.
Thanks, James. Last Tango in Halifax.
I didn't know I liked thrillers until I randomly picked up a thriller book at 16. That opened me up to try more different things. Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Hey, I'm here, but cannot contribute to the chat as much as usual. Something's come up at work and I have things to fix. My left ear will enjoy this. I hope your left ear does enjoy it, Elon.
Good to see you, Elon. Glad you could still listen in.
Chris just left the Marvels, and there's some of it you're going to love. Is it all the cats? I'm so excited for all the cats. I told Reed, I was like, will you go see the Marvels with me? He's like, we haven't seen the past several Marvel movies. And I'm like, I'm not sure it's going to matter. But I couldn't convince him.
I'm going on Monday. I mean, I think if you watch anything, it should probably be Ms. Marvel and the Scarlet Witch show, like to get you ready.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know because I've not seen the movie. I've just heard that. But I'm going on Monday, and I heard it's a lot of fun. Like that's the word I've heard the most for people coming out of it, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah. So. Yeah, let me know what you think. And if you're like, hey, you should watch something else, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. Watch Let's Tango in Halifax. Just saying.
I mean, I will.
Did you give it 5 stars? Sorry.
Yeah.
I know you,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I knew you'd said, like, I was not, when I finished, I usually have that 5-star feeling, but yeah. Why am I holding back? Okay. 5 stars. Ooh, okay. And then Chris gave it 4. So yeah, if you have a out of 5 score, put it in the chat. But we're going to switch to the book report. If there are spoilery things we want to discuss in a little bit more detail. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can either leave and come back in maybe like 15 minutes. Usually we don't spend too much time normally on spoilers. Or if you don't mind spoilers, again, this is just about self-discovery, although there is that end plot point of like, does he find George? Does George forgive him? And a couple of other of those elements. So we will be talking about those. But anyways, that's your warning. Kristen, do you want to start with your Gracie feels so we can collectively process together?
I'm still sad. So, Albert's older and Gracie was also older. I forget how old she was. Grace probably knows.
Grace is like,
I
12 years and 4 months, and this was her blood type. We're just not, our brains are not as big as yours. Okay.
It's hard.
Limited room.
It's hard. I've read a few things since then. I listened to the Britney Spears book. I mean, there's just stuff in my head
one
now.
day. One day. I was following that journey. I was like, oh, Kristen started. I can't wait to like hear what she thinks in a couple days. And then it was like that night. And I was like, whoa. Okay.
It was even like I started it the morning I got to work. And I finished it 30 minutes before I left.
I love that for you.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it for me too. Thank you so much. I'm glad you followed that journey. Gracie was his best friend for many years, and she was in her teens. Okay, crazed 18. She was up there. Thank you, Chris. Chris is like, got it, 18.
I told her, like when you watch political debates, and there's like a live fact checker for the network, and it's like a little ticker, like actually, that's actually what we need. It's like a live fact checker. James drops links, and Crazed keeps us accountable for facts.
Which Crazy is saying is on the younger end for a cat.
I don't know much about cats.
It's a senior cat, and some cats live to be like 20 something, so it varies. But yeah, she was older. She's still older, and of course, she didn't make it. You guys, he was hollering for her one day, and she didn't come get her food, or she didn't eat the night before, and he finds out she has like a spot on her stomach, and he takes her to the vet, and she just like immediately has to be put to sleep. And I was like, this is the worst thing. And I was crying at work, cussing Jessica's name for picking this book.
Excuse me. No. Let's tell the story. I'm going to be the fact checker. I'm
just kidding.
I asked, this is in chapter 9 or 10. Craze, let us know.
It's 10. I remember this.
Is it 10? Okay. Yeah. I remember feeling when I got to 8 or 9, like something's going to happen to this cat.
Yeah.
I do want to. We'll get there, but I did text Kristen or message Kristen, and I said, "I'm a little ahead of you. Do you want me to tell you what happens with Gracie or not?" She said yes. So I did warn you about Gracie. Grace says 9. Here's why it
I
stuck
just
out because
thought I was
Craze
like, "It's
messaged
10,"
me and
and then
said
Craze is gonna
9.
say 9.
Like
Yeah.
I just got to chapter 9, and is
Thanks,
Kristen
Craze.
okay? And I said I did warn her ahead of
Oh,
but sorry, go ahead. Yeah, she has to
yeah.
be put to sleep.
Yeah, she has probably like a Christ. What does she have? Probably like a tumor or something, and she can't make it, and so the vet's like, well, she's in a lot of pain, and we can't do anything for her, unfortunately. So he has to put her to sleep, and then it's so sad because he goes home and he's all alone, and everything's
Mhm.
sad, and I'm sad, and he keeps
Mhm.
seeing things that belong to Gracie, and like no one knows because like he doesn't have solidified
Mm.
friendships with any of these people. So like no one even knows it's happening to him. He takes off work and he's grieving, and I'm sad, and I'm still sad about it.
And he
I'm
has
sad.
this. Yeah, going through the grief alone, and then he also feels like embarrassed because he doesn't tell his coworker the truth about why he's taking off work because he thinks people will think that's like silly or something, which is also sad because like most people, at least that I'm aware of, would have, even if they didn't have an animal, would have some, compassion or whatever. So that was also sad that he like questioned whether anyone would care, whether they would find it was silly. Yeah, that made me sad
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, very sad. And
Mm.
Mary's saying I tried to tell her that she didn't warn me about the cat. I'm sure you did, Mary, but you read it so long ago. You know I don't remember anything. But thank you, Mary. Yeah, Bar's saying she's not gonna read it anymore. I want to cry, and I didn't even read the book.
Aw.
To be fair, it didn't last that long. Like this situation was like done and over with pretty fast. And though I was crying about it, I was still okay, you know? So I think it's worth it. That is a warning though, for anybody who can't handle that. But yeah. Yeah,
And
Chris
I
says,
think, yeah, this is one sentence, and then I think I said this to you, but I can't really remember. It may have been someone else I was talking to about the book, but one of the sentences in the book that I thought was good that handled this was he didn't feel guilty about calling in sick. He might not be physically ill, but he was in more pain than he'd suffer with any illness, and that was just so true. I thought it was handled with a lot of compassion. I also feel like plot device wise, it was not some callous death to make you cry. Like it wasn't emotionally manipulative. It was literally what helps propel him to realize his true loneliness because he was putting everything into work. Then he's like, I won't have work, but I have Gracie. And then Gracie leaves. And again, like sometimes with pet deaths, I do feel like it's emotional manipulation. Like it's not essential to the plot. It's just like, let me elicit tears out of you so you feel like you're having an emotional response to the quality of this book, but really it's just this thing that's incredibly sad that I put in here. Whereas like this, I didn't feel like it was like it wasn't a violent death, and it was one where he was allowed to process, and like it wasn't immediately forgotten either. Like you said, he a couple of times he mentions her throughout the course of the book. And it does propel him on his journey. And I like to think that like he will eventually also get another cat that he'll give a great life and home to because they were definitely bonded. They had
mm-hmm.
their little routine together. So I never love a pet death of any kind in a book, but I do feel like this was probably one of the best that I've read as far as like not feeling manipulated and feeling comforted, but also not feeling like cheated in any way. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Far says, I love how heartbreaking this whole book sounds, but you insist it's a lighthearted and heartwarming book. I mean,
Life is terrible. I mean,
yeah.
the world is terrible, but I think, and these laws were terrible, all of that. But I
Yeah.
think it's the emotional connection and community that you build to get through it that's the most beautiful part of humanity. So, in that, this is like a very weird parallel, but it's the same reason I say slasher movies don't scare me. I already know serial killers are out there. Like, I already know
Yeah.
life is terrible, the world is terrible, governments are terrible. I already know all of that. But what I like to see is people finding community and love for themselves and that sort of thing. I think that's really reassuring.
Yeah, Bar's saying she believes us, but this book still sounds pretty sad. But that's the thing, right? Like it ends very hopefully in a hopeful way, and the whole time things keep getting more positive and more positive and more positive.
Yeah, because another plot I did want to talk about. I was kind of looking through my tabs. Sometimes when we talk, there's a lot going on in this book. It is. It's so awful. Like so many awful things happen. But there's this other plot point. So Albert, we didn't mention this in the spoiler-free section. So I do want to hear your thoughts on Albert's family of origin plays another role in how he feels about himself. So he has a mom and a dad. His dad was on the police force, I believe. So that was like interrelated to if he was found out in his relationship with George because it was against the law. His mom also, like throughout his childhood, there's a big trigger warning for miscarriages in this book for sure. She has a series of miscarriages. She has some health issues that also seem to cause her some mental distress that changes her personality over time as well. She becomes a lot more critically vocal of Albert as she gets older. At least that's what I perceived in those scenes as they progressed. And so that plays a huge role because at one point I was kind of flipping through and she talks about him potentially being a waste of space, so like this is also going on in his mind. But part of the George plot comes to be because he's cleaning out he lives now where he was raised in his parents' house. And there's a room where his mom was towards the end of her life. And it has a lot of things in there. And he finds a memory from his past, which is him and George would leave notes for each other to meet at their secret hideaway. And there's a question throughout the book about how much did the mom know about their relationship? There's also how much did the dad know, but I think it's more critical about the mom. So I was curious. There's actually discussion questions in the back of the book, and that was one of them. So I did want to ask you, like, what you thought about the flashbacks with his mom, and I'm trying to find the question that they ask. Oh, one of the reasons Albert stayed in the closet was to protect his mom, but he later wonders if she deserves the sacrifice he made. Then he wonders if he misread the situation and she'd have accepted him if he had come out. What do you think, and how do you interpret her final sorry? Because before she passes, she does say sorry, and he's wondering if that's because she knew this whole time. And I don't know. So what did you think about that dynamic? Because it also takes a big chunk of the flashbacks, maybe sometimes more than with George, were those flashbacks with his family. More stuff to make Bar sad.
I was gonna say, yeah, and it's rough, like Bar's saying. Because he ultimately goes through his mom's things, which he hasn't done since she passed, and she was living with him. There's like a whole room of stuff. And ultimately, I think Nicole's like, "Hi, you need to do something about this," which he does, and he needs to go through it to process his own grief. And he stumbles upon all of these letters. Was it the letters George wrote him, right? Yeah. That his mom kept in her stuff. And that makes me think she had to have known, right? Which adds layers to that relationship that he certainly didn't expect. And I don't know that I didn't expect her to have those either. So that was interesting.
Yeah, you get other little tidbits too. Like there's one that I remember. It's small, but it happened to me growing up a lot. So I do remember it because it's like I can close my eyes and see it happening in my own childhood, which is when I was little. My parents would change the channel if there were things that they didn't disapprove of, or approve of, in the middle of a thing. And one of those was like anytime there was a mention of a queer storyline, they would change the channel when I was growing up, which is like a horrible thing to internalize as you get older.
I had that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that was really troubling or interesting, during that troubling scene, because his dad, they're watching like some program and his dad's like making homophobic comments and wanting to change the channel. And there's a couple scenes, and there may be two of them, but there's definitely one of them where the mom kind of like doesn't, like, she's like, just sit down and watch, like she's kind of trying to make light of it. And George feels this as a little bit of a victory. And it's so sad that like that's the victory, but I actually could feel that when I was reading it, because I was like, oh yeah, I this happened to me as well. And so there are scenes like that with his mom, but the mom has her whole other struggle going on too, like not to defend her, but like she is just having it rough. And so you do sympathize with her, and you do have these moments of hope, and you wish that it would have gone differently if she really would have been supportive, but you can't go back, like, and you just will never know. And I think that would really bother me if I just would never know. You'd be re-looking at all of those moments, and I'm not sure for me if I would choose them as hopeful or if it would just be so regretful. So I struggled with that a little bit. That was actually one of the saddest parts of the book for me.
Yeah, I would definitely say that too. Bar, add it to your list. Mary says, I joke, this book reminds us to find all the moments of joy in life, because in reality,
Yeah.
life can honestly be terrible.
Mhm.
She definitely knew, because she was the one who sent his dad after him and George. I wonder if she was so cruel because she thought he was weak for putting up with her and not going after his own wants.
So I remember them thinking that that's a possibility. I agree with you. Like, I think that that's what happened. I can't remember, though. I don't know that the text explicitly says this is totally what happened, because there's also an interpretation where maybe she doesn't think her son is gay, but he's hanging out with a gay kid who could like corrupt him or something like that. So I'm not sure. I didn't feel like I don't know. I may have misread it, but I didn't feel like there was anything that was like, this for sure is this. I think there's still a little bit of the mystery of like how she would have felt and exactly all of those moments, but I don't know. Maybe I misread it though, for sure. Chris agrees, so. But yeah, that's the parents. The other character, we were talking about like older and younger, so now I want to talk about, what's her name? Marjorie?
Margaret?
Margaret? Did I do it again? Is it really?
Yeah, I think it's Margaret.
Margaret's grandson, question mark, is dying.
Bar, add
it to your list. Throughout the course of the book, he's a child. And
this is
there is like a
rough
realistic depiction of pub quiz trivia, though, because I do that. I play pub trivia all the time, but they do like fundraisers, send him to Disney, etc. This is Albert's coworker, and there's, in the end, get ready, Bar. He does pass away, and you find it out towards the end of the book. But I really wasn't depressed, though.
I wasn't either.
But Albert makes an observation about like, it wasn't fair, but the short life that he lived was so full of love. And I think that was interesting, because it was a good parallel to the very beginning. Not that it's ever a good thing for anyone to die, let alone a child, but at the very beginning, he feels like I've had a really long life, but I've not even lived at all. So I really liked that parallel bookend of the situation with the grandson and then Albert as well. So that was another like plot that felt random throughout, if I'm honest with you, but I think was actually really important when you get towards the end of the book.
Yeah, I agree. And Bar, it's not that we're cold-hearted. That's not it.
No,
read the book, you'll know.
Yeah, read the book and get back to us.
Another thing that we haven't touched on too, I think, I'm not even sure we mentioned it, but kind of what kicks off the whole book really is he receives this letter in the mail from HR for the Royal Mail, and they're like, "Hey, what up? You're gonna be
compulsory
65
retirement,
soon, and you have to retire." And his job's his whole life, so that creates a really upsetting situation for him as well, because he's going to lose one of the two things he has, right? And then of course he loses both. Sad. Bar.
Wait, you want me to really make you sad? Hold on. Because part of why he chose to be a postman was because of how much the letters between him and George brought him like love and joy and peace and comfort, and he wanted to be a part of that for other people. But he currently didn't have it for most of his career. He was just doing it for other people. You ready?
And
we got more, Bar. Don't worry.
He ends up delivering like sweet things to people, because of this, and he wants people to feel nice. So, I'm not going to remember anyone's name, but he
Crazed Will, just give a rough description.
Like on the cover, there's like the little like
Yeah.
symbols of like everything that kind of he
Yeah, I
delivered.
liked that.
Yeah. So he would bring like, he brought flowers to what's her name?
Keep going. I want to hear you describe.
Flowers to what's her name, who had a lot of boyfriends, and it made her feel special because she was then lonely, and he wanted to make her feel nice. So he's like, "Who do you think could have gotten it for
my
you?"
girl Edith, my girl.
Yeah, and
they had the bluebells for he and George,
yes,
which are
yes.
big here in Kentucky, so that was kind of cool to see them.
Yeah.
This is like the pub that he really liked, that he was like, oh, this is like my speed. He found like a balance. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, he wrote admiration letters to Edith. So he did all of these like things. And what I loved about him doing those things anonymously and them not knowing is finding out later on that they totally knew all along. And I thought that was really sweet how that happened, and how, you know, they all like appreciated him for that. And it brought him closer to all of these people as well.
There's so much everyone knew along, because we don't know. Well, but my understanding was we don't know the level of detail the mom knew, though we all, I think, are on the same thought process. But you also found out Margaret knew he was gay the whole time. She was like, yeah, we were kind of just waiting to throw this party for you, because they do throw him like this coming out party, which was the only scene in the whole book. I was like, it's a little much. It was still cute that
I agree, but yeah, it was cute.
It was. He does say something, I think it's in that scene, that was really sweet, when he said, and I was dancing like I should have been dancing with George this whole time, which was like so sweet. Oh, here. What? I didn't do that on purpose. It says, oh, why did I spend so long dancing in private? Why didn't I realize how much better it is to dance with other people? He says that. He has a couple of dancing scenes in here. But yeah, the letters theme is strong. I didn't really like realize it as much until we were talking it out, I think. What about the ending with George? Like, what? First off, did you think George was alive? For like, at what point were you like, okay, good, or did you kind of always have a confidence? And then
I was hoping, but I was not sure. Bar, he's alive, so positive. Here's a positive. George is still alive. In fact,
a drag queen.
Yeah, he's
a pretty popular one.
Pretty popular drag queen. So I love that whole investigation, by the way, of like him and Nicole trying to figure out like piece by piece where this guy is. He can't easily be found on social media. And the way they did that, I thought that was really fun, and a cute little adventure they could go on as well. So at that point, when they're doing that, I'm like, he has to be alive. I mean, right? Like, they got to find him. And the reunion was, I could have seen it go a different way. And I was actually glad about how it went, right? It was very much like George was like, I thought I may see you because this other person told me. And I'm like, that would happen. Like, I was like, of course, if he's asking around, that would probably happen. And he, you know, invites him into his apartment, and he's like, they talk about life and how things are. And it was a sweet moment, and I'm glad that it wasn't like they didn't immediately get together, because that would have been incredibly weird and unrealistic, right? Like,
yeah, because and a part of this, sorry, that we alluded to, I think we alluded to this in the non-spoilery section, like, you do know something happened where Albert's like, if George could ever forgive me, but you don't know what it is for a very long time. So that's another piece of this, is like, there's a potential that George is carrying a grudge or feels betrayed, because there was a moment, I don't, where we were alluding to it earlier, but they had a secret meeting place that they would go to often. At one point, Albert has the opportunity to kind of like come out, stand in solidarity with George. He doesn't choose to do that. And this is a part of that betrayal, I guess, of George's confidence. There's also some interesting discussion. I won't go in too far into it, but like, there is this interesting discussion where Albert makes a distinction that he could sort of like pass as straight, like people wouldn't suspect he was gay, whereas like he feels like George, and we don't know because we don't really see people in this book, but like George really didn't try to hide, but also it was harder for George to hide, is what he would say. when they were younger. And so this is also a huge, I think, piece of the story, because Albert's like training himself to blend in, and he feels like he has the ability to, and that's going to be safer. So he's just going to do that. But yeah, in the apartment, I loved that George, he wasn't like overly angry, and like he was really understanding, because like so much time has passed, and like you can look at yourself, your younger self, and others who are younger with different eyes than in the moment when you feel wronged. But he's like, we're not gonna like pick up where we left off. And I thought that was so realistic, and I really liked it. And that was the moment for sure when I wasn't like heartbroken by that. That's exactly when I knew, like, okay, he's gonna be fine no matter what happens.
Right.
And this was just more about Albert loving himself than anything else.
Yeah, Chris says, I like that George doesn't care what Albert did, though. Yeah, I mean, it's been so long, and especially with everything that happened, just like with laws and things changing and life progressing in a positive way as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably like, of course he did what he had to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel I relate to Albert. My life is also depressing. Now I just need to get a cat. You know, I'm a proponent of you getting a cat, Bar. You need a cat.
Oh my goodness.
I was way sus about Jamie in the beginning. Thought he had her as a side piece or something.
Oh yeah, me
I was
too.
feeling that too. I was like, Albert, don't tell her to stay with him. That's what I felt at first. I was just like,
My one like qualm truly about that story that I was like, is the explanation as to why the parents don't like Jamie's parents don't like her is because their other was this right that their other child married someone of a different culture group and uses that as an excuse to like pull them apart. That's their perception of what's going on. But there wasn't like a ton of exploration of that, and I'm also like,
no.
Is the other person doing that, or are you making it hard for them to blend in with your, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, are you meeting them halfway?
That mom was a lot.
Yeah, so I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but I agree. Like, I didn't really love that.
The coloring in of the self was cool.
Absolutely. There's also one thing I did really love about this was all the musical theater references. I was very into that. We didn't talk a lot about it.
Chris is like, wait.
Thank you. But I was like, I got the spirit of the thing right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm reading other stuff now.
Chris, you want to join us next time?
We just need to put her, like, when people do ASL in the like corner of the thing. We just need her, and she's like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. And anytime we get something right, she'll be like, and I'll be like, oh.
We'll keep it tally. You know what I meant. But yeah, I didn't love that. I do love that the end was like they're going on a date.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. Love. And I'm with you. I want to read more from this author. I think Mary told me she had another book from him, but hasn't read it yet.
Maybe so I'm picking up one at the pumpkin patch.
Ooh.
Oh, you're going to have to find out.
Should we? Are we?
Stay tuned a few seconds from now.
Are we done there? I think
so. Yeah. If anyone has any spoiler-filled thoughts that they want to pop into the chat, feel free. But yeah, that's mostly all that I had. I really loved it. And talking it out more and all the parallels, I was like, it's elevated it even for me. So I feel very good about my 5.
I agree.
Yeah. Bar, let us know if we've convinced you.
Yeah, Bar. Do you want to do it or no?
But yeah,
get this book.
Now it's time for the pumpkin patch. We want to know what you're picking up to read, or what you just picked up. It's towards the end of the pumpkin season, so
it is.
You're either getting a great deal or it's going to be rotten, and we're going to find out about it. But Kristen, what have you picked up recently? What are you about to pick up this week?
Well, my pickups are off my shelf, so I'm not like seeking out necessarily things to buy. But I grabbed some stuff from my shelf that I want to hopefully get to soon.
Okay.
I have plenty of those that I haven't read. Mm-hmm. So first up is Alone Forever. Speaking of sad, depressing books, Bar. The Singles Collection by Liz Prince. Liz Prince did Tomboy, which I adored. So these are probably more autobio comics, I would assume. And I really like her work. So
yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it's been sitting on my shelf. I want to read more.
Are you sure you don't want to save that for Lizzie Olsen's birthday, closer to Valentine's Day?
What? February 16th. I'll
Never forget.
Don't forget. I also grabbed Wild Thing or My Life as a Wolf off the shelf. I'm doing my best lately to grab things off my shelf I haven't read
Yeah,
and hopefully get rid of them because you know what?
it's the best.
I love it so much. I don't have room for everything and I love it so much. So this is another one that I think hopefully I'll enjoy, but I don't necessarily anticipate keeping. So really, we have some cartoony art in here, which I like.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is apparently an intriguing quest, a canine road movie full of life, depth, passion, and setbacks.
Wow, it's a big promise.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. I also have The Infinite Weight and Other Stories. This is by Julia Wirtz. Yes,
It's on my list.
Yeah, I have a few books from her, and they look really interesting. And this is all again autobio comics, which I really like, and I really like her art. So I want to dive into this.
Yeah, looks good.
And speaking of cats, Cat Gamer Volume 3. I love
That's the one you said I might like, right? Because the girl doesn't know how to make friends. I have friends, guys.
You have so many friends.
Well, I have quality friends. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. That's all you need. It is so lovely and cute, though, and I do think you'd really like this. My mom's reading this actually, and she's really enjoying it too. So, there's only 3 volumes. I think maybe ever is this last one. I'm not sure. I'll have to read it. We'll see. But there aren't going to be that many if there are more. And it is very lovely and sweet. My New Life as a Cat, Volume 3.
Oh.
I'm also really enjoying this. This is about a boy who was hit by a car, hit by a car, and there's a cat outside when he got hit, and they switched bodies.
Oh,
it's a
Freaky Friday with a cat.
Although, so he's in this cat's body. All he knows is he's seen his body around. So he's like, "Is the cat in my?" Like he doesn't know. So we don't really know what's happening with his body.
Okay.
Because it's from the perspective of the cat. And he obviously wants to be a boy again at some point, but
a real boy.
Yeah, him being a cat though, it is super fun and funny and entertaining, and it's cat manga. You know me.
I have a request.
Yeah.
Last year, you and Reed did a great video. It was one of my favorite videos you put out for the whole year.
Yeah.
That was like Mother's Day reads. Now, my mom, Debbie, would never be caught reading comics, but you were mentioning your mom reading some. I would love it if you and Larry did like a Mother's Day special of your mom's like 5 recommendations to people.
I love that, actually.
I would love that.
I love that. Let me write that down. I love that.
Yeah. I want to know what
Dad, you still watching? You think Mom would do that? Now I have to write it down.
We're not going to spotlight Crazed Shade towards me. Maybe it should become the Tree Lot since you clearly moved on to Christmas already. Wow. Dismissed.
Oh, wow, Grace.
I do like joy. It's true. I'm a happy person. And when they get twinkly light Thanksgiving decorations and Thanksgiving gets repurposed to not be about genocide, we'll talk again.
There we go. Another cat book. My cat is such a weirdo.
This is the new one, right?
The new one, yeah. You may have seen me hold it up earlier, but what I like is the actual cat photos are in here, which I love, and it's in color. I mean, look at this dumb face here. I love it so much. So, cat manga, you guys. Are you shocked? No, you're not. I have a few more if you don't mind. Just kind of breezing through them.
Absolutely.
Clementine book 2. I'm so excited to reread the first one, get to this one. I think it's a little chunkier, feels chunkier.
Oh, it looks it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. Susceptible has been on my shelf for a while. Drawn and Corley put this out. I thought so too. I randomly picked this up at a comic shop a while back. It is Canadian. And the back says a trans-Canadian exploration of identity from a multi-talented artist. That's kind of all I need to know, right? So
it's a hardback too.
Yeah, and I really like the art. I will say the text inside is cursive, and I don't know about that. I know that is the downside because I really like the art inside, but why are we doing that? Why are we doing that, guys? So we'll see.
Y'all can't be doing that.
No, we can't be. And finally, another one by Julia that I picked up, which is a big honking hardcover. It's
Oh, wow.
Impossible People, A Completely Average Recovery Story, which is apparently her journey through sobriety and recovery in that aspect, which it sounds good and
It's a
interesting.
nice book.
Yeah, it's quite hefty, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you read anything by her?
You know, I read something, I can't think of what it was called, but I liked it. So then I saw these two like used somewhere and I was like, let's get them, you know.
Let's get them.
Let's get them.
Gotta get them all. Oh,
my
Larry's got
feedback.
I love it.
Did she appear on camera? No. I don't think we could get her to, but she would give us her list. Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think that'd be cool.
She just finished Sentient. She loved it, but thought it ended too abruptly. Ooh, she got opinions. Love that. Oh, that cat book sounds like a disturbing Pinocchio book disguised as cute because fluffy cat. I promise it's not creepy, but I get what you're saying. I'm reading The Surgeon's Daughter by Audrey Blake.
I'll have to look it up.
Oh, I hate it when books come with big promises. I once read a book that promised it'll give me all the feels, and the only feeling I felt was boredom. Now that's a review. That's a review.
That's like
Black. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good like on Goodreads. Sometimes people are really witty. I always like that because you know my favorite Goodreads one I've told you a million times is like people hate it, not me though.
Yeah,
that's like how I feel about so many things.
I've started, you know, I wrote some review the other day and it was just like a few sentences and I was like, this is it. I mean, I'm going to start doing this for most books. I think it's just
is it the one you wrote last night?
I think so.
About Henry. Because I was like,
yes.
Is that interesting?
Okay.
You're not going to like what I have to say about it though.
Why?
Because I think Hank is a nickname for Henry.
How?
I just Google it. But I did see that and I was like, I'm not gonna I'm sure the book is terrible. I usually agree.
That's the thing. It wasn't good.
But I was like,
and I've seen that happen in other books where they totally mess up the name. It's like they were going to name him something.
It's like I wrote it. I'm like Marjorie, Margaret, Mallory, Meredith.
Well, then I'll delete my review, Jessica. But I was mad about it.
The horrible thing is that I'm like, you know, I was in social work for so long. I have so many names in my brain of like kids running at the Boys and Girls Club that I was running, clients in different programs. I'm so bad. Like I either know you or I do not. You're like, I got like face blindness. I mix up names left and right. And I'm not even that old. It's awful.
I hear you. Also, just for the record, black cats are not actually bad luck. It is a myth. Go get a black cat. Okay, bye.
One time, a black cat, this was last Halloween. Literally. A black cat was hanging out on my patio for 24 hours straight. Even when Neville went out there, the cat would go away and then come back. Ooh, thanks, Crazed. Thanks, Chris.
Listen, it doesn't make sense.
The Hank Henry thing does, but I'm with you. Like, as far as I'm
this
sure the
book doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm totally on your side. I just thought it was funny.
May I just? You saw the Mitch McConnell comment. I'm sure. May I show?
Yeah,
you?
That was funny to me. Can you show?
And may I show you? Yeah, hold on. Let me get a good close up of.
Not to depress everyone, but
yeah. Well, we live in Kentucky. We know. Here we go. Now tell me that's not Mitch McConnell.
That is young Mitch McConnell.
Come on, right?
In his prime, at age of 60, 20,000 years ago.
Trash in my life.
Dang.
Yeah.
Anyway. Larry's coming to your defense, though. He says, "And why is Dig short for Richard? Most nicknames don't make sense."
Don't make sense.
It's so true.
Also, here's the thing: like the person who called him Hank would call him Henry the next bubble. That's what I'm saying. Like it didn't make sense to me.
Bill and William is also like, where'd the B come from?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Will and Willie make total sense. Bill,
right.
I love you so much, I always will. No, it doesn't make any sense. Well, at the patch over here, I buried the lead. I've got 3 things. And then we'll show what we're going to read for our finale for Fall Into Reading.
Yeah.
I am now halfway through The Madonna of Bolton by Matt Cain. This was, I think, Matt Cain's second book, but his first like majorly published one in the UK. It is semi-autobiographical. It is told through Madonna songs. So there's a different Madonna song at the beginning of every chapter. And I've been listening to the songs before every chapter. Yeah.
Mary,
It sets the stage. I've started making a Spotify playlist for it. I'm about halfway through, and essentially, it, like I said, it's semi-autobiographical. So basically, the character, the stand-in for Matt, is Charlie Matthews. Matthews, obviously, still being a play on his first name. Growing up in Bolton, loving Madonna, never quite fitting in, and it's sort of like his coming out story. And so far, we started at age 9. And we're in college now. He's actually just graduated college, and I'm halfway. So I think it's going to go into his early adulthood. I'm also really curious because I watched an interview with Matt Cain about Albert Entwistle after it came out. And a lot of people, of course, were praising like the coming out later story, but also like finding love kind of so late in life is also exciting all on its own. And he said he thought he would be Albert because he didn't meet his partner until he was like in his early 40s. And he's like, all my friends, all my siblings were like married, some of them married, divorced, and married again. And I kind of resigned to myself at the age of 40 that I had to be happy with myself, whether somebody came into my life or not. And I thought that was just really beautiful. So I'm kind of curious if Charlie, the character in this, that'll be his story. But it's very different than Albert. It's obviously way more modern. It's more 80s. It's very poppy. The prose is it's a little less charming in prose, but it's not trying to do that. Right now, it just feels like a fun little adventure with this young boy who's now graduated college. And it looks chunky, but it's really not because the chapters are very short. And so there's tons of like white pages throughout. So far, I'm really enjoying it. And then there's another one he has out that is getting a US release in 2024, but it's been out for a year in the UK called Becoming Ted, which is about a man who gets a divorce, a gay man who gets a divorce in his late 40s. His partner just kind of up and leaves out of nowhere. Sorry, Bar, it might be sad. But he always was interested in doing drag, but his partner was like, we're not those kind of gays. And then now that he's divorced, he's like, I'm going to like live my life and explore this thing that I've always wanted to try. So I want to read that. And then he's got a new one called One Love that's coming out overall. That's like a love story told over the course of 20 years. You know, I love that stuff. You know, I love a love story told over a long period of time. So I feel like this is going to be my Jennifer McMahon, Riley Sager of like queer romance. Like I'm just going to read all Matt Cain. So I hope to finish today or tomorrow actually, because it's going by very quick. Oh, you have it. I want to know if you enjoy it.
And now you did the Madonna one, Mary.
Yeah, Mary, I'll let you know how the end goes. I think this has an audiobook, so it may be on well, Mary, do you have yeah, you have Hoopla. Well, you probably have Libby if you don't. Hoopla has audiobooks too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have we're Libby people.
I also have Libby.
Okay, just brag already. All right. Anyways, I need a message read is what I need to do and take him up on his offer. So I did get a Kickstarter in the mail. I didn't forget about this, but I did think it was going to come sooner than it did. So it was like, this is perfect for Halloween. And we're like mid-November.
Nice.
I don't love it. I love feeling like love and community during hard times. I can't say it enough, Bar. But I got Meat for Burgers, Welcome to Burgatory by Beck Kubrick and Christoph Bogax. I'm not sure. This was one Mark recommended and came up after I backed Mark's Kickstarter, which I'm very excited about in the coming months. But the premise here is when Trace wakes up in Value Burger, they have no idea how they got there and no memory of who they are. All they know is if they try to leave, they die. And the pull quote on the back says, a deep fried, spooky, queer nightmare combo meal filled with dread, and fast food by the comics dream team of Christoph Bogax. I'm sorry that I'm mispronouncing that. And Beck Kubrick. I can't get enough of this one. I'll just show a little bit of the interior
very
art.
offended no one told me about this.
Okay, well, Mark did tell everyone on his social media.
I didn't see it.
And it came up, I think,
I'm offended by you not telling me. How about that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Although I did tell you about that sale on James's friend's book, and I didn't get a reply. So just saying.
Listen, if you didn't send it in Telegram, I probably didn't see it.
I'm sorry. Well, no, what I need to do is send it via text because I think the Telegram gets buried. I think what I need to do is be like text, and I need to have those sirens, and I need to just
No,
call you because
I
then you'd
hate
really
text. I
panic.
love
If I
Telegram.
called you in the middle of the day,
You
what
can
would
do
you
that.
do?
I'd be like, oh my God, are you okay?
Exactly. This also did come with a little print of the a thank you print of the
Aw.
little crew. So I haven't read it yet. I do want to read it this week. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It looks good.
Yeah.
And then the last one is this was I don't did we do this for our finale show? I think we did our summer reading program finale. We talked about our most anticipated fall new releases.
Mm.
This was mine, and I finally started it. I was waiting for my library to get it. My library didn't get it, and I was like, I'm just going to buy it. So I did. It's called These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs. This is the one where it's like a sci-fi mystery thriller set in space. And there are like three main characters. One's like a military person, one is like a cleric, and one is like a spy. And there's one person who is after them all, and we don't know why or what the identity of the person is. And so their stories are going to intertwine. I'm only like 10% in, so I can't give you like a heavy plot analysis other than it definitely does have like mystery vibes. The world building is pretty good so far. And there's a lot of discussion about like capitalism already in here, and like how different societies have to feel the need to oppress certain groups so that they feel like society at large will operate better in their opinion, like the rulers do. And so there's a lot of like caste system stuff. So there's a lot of world building going on right now. Obviously, too early to tell whether I'll like it, but all of the protagonists are either women or queer, non-binary, etc. So liking that representation and just starting this one. So those are my three at the patch. Pretty excited about all of them though.
Yeah, they all sound good. I definitely want to know about the burger one, which Bar seems stoked about too.
Yeah.
Mary has Hoopla, Libby, and Audible.
Yeah, I have Audible too. Oh, Mary, do you have Spotify? Because just this week I realized Spotify gives you 15 hours of audiobook, Spotify Premium gives you 15 hours of free audiobooks a month. And it's like what's included in their collection. And you would think like, oh, it's just like the classics. But no, I found out after I bought this book, which just came out last month from Orbit, is among those included. So that's it. If you're not if you already have Spotify Premium, like definitely take advantage of that if you want to try audiobooks.
Yeah, you mentioned that the other day, and I was like, I didn't know that. I need to do that.
Yeah, it just started. I think this month or last month. So it's not been very long. Mm-hmm.
That art looks similar to Zoe Thorogood. That's what I was thinking when I saw it. Yeah. Yeah. Mary said I called Kristen once and it was terrifying. It's true. That did happen. I was like, oh my God, are you okay?
I would probably freak out. Like, well, here's what I would think. Actually, with Kristen, my first thought, because she like, or like Mary, if you call me, like you have spouses, so I'm assuming that's who you're gonna call like first in an emergency. Also, I don't live anywhere near either of you, so I can't really help. True. But my first thought, I think, if Kristen called me during the middle of the day, I would think she's like off for the day, and her and Reed are at a bookstore, and they're like, "Do you have this? Do you want us to grab it for you?" That's actually the first thought I would have if you called.
That would make sense. Yeah,
which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jessica, with your love for depression, during a Hallmark,
thanks, James.
When they get into a fight, do you rewind that part to watch it over and over again?
As my mom calls it, when winter happens. My mom watched one video. I don't know how she got a hold of it. And she's like, all movies, but all Hallmark movies for sure, follow like the seasons. You know what I mean? Like spring, romance is blooming, whatever. And then she'll say out loud, every movie we watch, oh, winter has come. Because they'll have like a conflict 10 minutes before the end of the movie.
That's funny.
No, I don't, James. If anything, I just want to skip forward because they're always going to get together. They're ever not going to get together. So
that's what it's about. Bar stoked about your ex.
I got him. I mean, I read widely and often.
Chris is saying it hasn't started in the US yet.
Yeah, mine has started. I just checked it when I was like, oh, is this legit? Started pressing play. It gives you 15 hours and it resets. What I'm not sure about is if it resets when your payment is due or if it resets at like literally at the end of the month. That's the part I'm not sure about. But If you go to the audiobook section of your Spotify,
I'm doing it now.
when I very first did it, it did pop up with a message that had a little bit of info. So definitely look into it if you're already like use all the features that you're paying for, I guess is what I'm saying.
The Brittany book is on there, so that's exciting.
The what?
The Brittany book is available on
Oh, yeah. See what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah.
just came out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They have tons. And Bar, they do. Haley Cass, who's one of my favorite indie women-loving women authors, she, I think, had an Instagram story the other day where she's trying to put together a list of all the adult sapphic contemporary romances that are available through Spotify Premium.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When people call me instead of texting, I genuinely think someone is dying. Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird. A generational thing. I also feel like, do your parents, well, I don't know, Larry's so hip, maybe not. But my parents, like, I think someone has died. They'll be like, they will call me and they'll be like, call me back right away or call me. And I'm like, I call them back and it's like not remotely. They're like, hey, we were at Penny's and we saw like, and I'm like, my guy, I thought someone died. Like,
yeah,
really?
that's funny.
Please don't do that.
We were at Penny's. Yeah, Mary was calling to see if I had the Moth Keeper. It was 50%.
Oh, Mary, I remember that was when that Barnes and Noble sale that was like insane. Where the Barnes and Noble was closing down. It's awesome.
Jessica seems to find out the good queer books that Goodreads will never recommend to me.
Well, Bar, if you're on Goodreads, I'm happy to be your Goodreads friend.
Yeah, Bar, let's be friends. Are you on Goodreads? Let's go.
Who was it? So I assume. Someone on your show with Jess the other day needed convincing about Goodreads, and I'm trying to remember who that was.
I think it was Elon.
Elon didn't have Goodreads, so yeah, they should get Goodreads. And James said, "Lucky Red is great. You will love it, Bar." James and Crazed both enjoyed it, so
I also plan to read it, but you know
I'm
me.
Excited. We've met. We're acquainted.
Have I finished Girl? What is it? Girl Made of Stars? No, haven't.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I go to your currently reading shelf, and I'm like, is she currently reading all these, or she just doesn't want to hit the remove from shelf button?
I should just remove from shelf at this point, honestly. Oh, he's like, yes, it was me. Chris also enjoyed Lucky Red.
Yes, I'm so glad. Oh, that was such a fun book. I want to reread it.
What's your name?
My name.
Goodreads? Mine is Santana Sticks, Stix. Yes, it's a Glee reference.
I love this for you. Mine is literally my name, I'm pretty sure. So
check me out.
Shouldn't be too hard. Oh, thanks, James.
Oh, James is like, here you go.
Wait, yeah, James, are we Goodreads friends? Are you on Goodreads?
Yeah, James. Are you just good at links, or
you don't want to be our friends? You don't want people to know we're associated? Wow.
I really call anyone Kristen her mom, and I just use Telegram. It helps since we haven't talked to her mom into leaving the Apple cult yet.
I forgot that you have this very passionate belief. My old roommate was an Android person, and the way any opportunity she could be like, listen, what about this? But now she's in the Google, because that's what you and your dad have, right? A couple years ago, she got a Google Pixel. Was it always called Google Pixel? Must have been.
Yeah.
When they were pretty new, she got them, and she was also she's very persuasive. So
look, they are. I mean, I had iPhones forever, and this is the best phone I've had. So,
James,
I think everybody should live their lives, but like, there are some people who are like, "Oh, you're texting me and it's green," and I'm like, "You're the one sounding like you're in a cult." Like,
here's why it's frustrating. I'll tell you. I don't care. I'm also like, I don't care what you use, but why sometimes it's challenging if someone is not an Apple user is just some of the features are more wonky. And my roommate talked to me for like 90 minutes about how it's actually Apple's fault, and I believe that it is, but either way, it's still annoying, which is sometimes if you like react or respond to someone, it'll only go to the Android user and not the group. Like every once in a while, it'll kind of mess up features like that. So that's why it's annoying. But I mean, I believe my roommate that it's Apple's fault. It's just like still it's annoying. So
this is why you just use Telegram, and none of that matters.
We do.
I know, but sometimes you'll text me and I'm like, girl, Telegram me. I
text you when it's you and Maddie usually, because Maddie doesn't have a Telegram.
I have a whole text message chain.
She's like,
I got the receipts.
That's fine. Remember when I had the receipts the other week and you were trying to gaslight me into thinking you didn't read Afterlife with Archie? You're like, I'm like, here. You're like, it's been 3 or 4 years.
Listen, I don't remember anything.
A year.
I don't remember. Well, that's because that was Goodreads' fault, to be fair. because I had read it in a different format and it didn't show me that.
That's fine. Well, like Albert and George, listen. What is it? I love you a little bit less today than tomorrow, or whatever it is.
Oh
It's
yeah,
okay. I still love you.
yeah.
James says he has it, but doesn't use it. Well, James, you read
Oh.
so widely that I would like to see what you're reading.
Yeah, I
So
wish you used it, James. We want to know.
it's a
I wanna
public
see how-
service. Oh, Larry says the Nexus. That's what
Yeah.
she had was before Pixel. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Okay.
I've only had Pixels. And Chris has been around since Nexus. I like buy my phone
Wow.
outright and unlocked. Yeah, unlocked is nice. Somebody weird with Harley and Ivy as her profile pic sent you a friend request on Goodreads. Okay, got it.
Excellent. I love
Awesome.
weird people. Oh, amazing.
Signal and Telegram evens the playing field and it's free. I don't use
Yeah,
Signal,
I
but
love when
Telegram's
Kristen
great.
introduced me to Telegram. Game changer.
Mm-hmm. Goodreads lies. It's so true. It's so true. What's annoying about Goodreads? You could stop there because there's a lot, but go on. Is that I have many Israeli books which I've read and they're not on Goodreads. Well, if you were a Goodreads librarian,
How do you do
could-
it?
Apparently,
Go
there's
ahead.
there's an application process which I don't remember ever doing, but I guess I did at some point in my life. So yeah, you can go on there, but you can submit a book to be approved to be added if you're not a librarian. So you can do that. I just added one the other day because I was like, I read this, I want it to count, you know.
Okay, I want to talk about just for a second. I want to process this. When
Go,
you
Mary.
did the application process, like, was there a background check? Like, what are they checking about you?
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah,
Here she goes, the library. If you add me on Goodreads, you'll see it says Goodreads librarian.
Wow.
Under my name. So
Wow.
no big deal.
Well, then when I need stuff added, I'm just gonna send it to you and be like, add this so I can get credit.
Yeah, I can do that.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, but you can also submit to be approved. Like you can submit a book, and then someone will approve it and add it.
Goodreads already is like so dysfunctional. It's just I've already been doing it for so long that I'm like, I can't be replicating this somewhere else. It's too much work.
Feel the same. It has so many problems, but do they add foreign language books? Yes.
Yeah, they do. Because actually, I don't know why, but occasionally if I read something that's been translated, there actually is no English version. And I'm like, is this the right book? Because like I can't read any of these reviews.
Yeah. Oh, you need to get a blood sample to be removed.
Actually, you know who runs the Goodreads authentication process? That's going to be Emily.
That's going to be Emily. Well, speaking of blood sample, you just take a syringe and
so out of pocket. Why are you doing?
It's an ink syringe. It's a blood tip.
It's just so dramatic. Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh my god.
Is the library actually a secret Goodreads cult? Ooh. Good idea for a book. You're right. Oh, Dad, I keep trying to get Kristen to switch to CLZ for comics. No. And you can just scan the barcode. You can do that on Goodreads as well, Father. You can actually scan the cover and it'll find it. You don't even have to scan a barcode.
Yeah, I've used that feature.
Yeah.
What's CLZ though? I don't know about that. Is it just for comics, Larry?
Yeah.
Because the good thing about Goodreads is you can do comics and prose on the same application.
Right, you can't. Like, there's comic specific one, there's book specific one.
Yeah.
And you have to pay for them. So.
Oh no, Larry, we can't be doing in this economy.
No, sir. No. That was so scary.
It was really terrifying.
It's an ink syringe.
Mark is like, I just walked in and this lady's whipping out needles. So the show has changed, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Mark, I was just talking about this is how I found out your Kickstarter is how I found about this Kickstarter that just arrived. That was in my pumpkin patch.
And I'm so sad I didn't see that postmark because I would have bought that.
Yeah.
That has happened to me, but when I enter the ISBN, the English language come up. Yeah, sometimes you have to like go to the edition and you can only see that on a laptop full version site. Yeah, it's so stupid.
You need to do a Goodreads, like you need to do a mini comic Monday. We need alliteration, but I don't know what it is right now. Where you just go over Goodreads for people. You know, like here's how you become a librarian. Here's I'm telling you. I would like it.
All right. Maybe I'll do that. Looks like an early morning watch with lots of comments. Mark, we love them.
We love it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
What kind
Mark.
of nerd?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hope that you're waking up happy after last night's victory. Anyways, go ahead.
Something about hockey. Something hockey.
Yeah, because my soccer sons sure didn't win this morning. Sure didn't.
Reed had a victory last night.
Oh, Reed.
Yeah, Blues against Avalanche 8-2.
Wow. And the Avs are good.
Yeah, that's right.
They have the best St. Bernard on meth mascot in all of the NHL. All of it.
Incredible. What kind of nerd do you have to be to start a Goodreads cult? I'm doing it. Bar. Wonder if the barcodes are the same on translated books. Yeah, I don't know. Mark, send Kristen a pic of your pup. Let's see it. You're trying to make me like open things and Dad.
He could send it. If you want to send it on Instagram, Mark, I can show it on this camera. That's less work. And while we wait to see if Mark wants to do that, Kristen, who knows if you'll get to your books? Who knows if I'll get to mine? Let's be honest, except for the Madonna Bolton. I probably will finish that today. But no matter what, 2 weeks from now, the finale of Fall into Reading.
Mm-hmm.
Fall will have ended. People won't be judging about holiday celebrations after that. We're going to be reading. I didn't have it out. I hope you have both of them.
I just grabbed El Deafo. I have Messy Roots elsewhere.
We have 2 self-contained graphic novels for next show.
That's right. El Deafo and Messy Roots.
Messy Roots. Insert in post-production.
Right there.
It's on a shelf so far for me.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I just had to grab mine. You may have seen that.
Bar's like, yes.
That was for Bar. I haven't read this in years, and I'm very excited. And I haven't read Messy Roots at all, so I'm super stoked for that.
Now, Messy Roots is like autobiographical about Laura Gow's life. Is El Deafo also autobiographical, or is it?
Yep. I believe it is. Yep, it is.
Good.
Yep. So they're both autobiographical. We love that.
We love it. And, because and you know what? Oh, a moment. Sorry. My brain, my brain is like, get to the point. Point was, the theme for this week was our PSL pick. Like, Basic, we would have loved it, which actually was Silver Surfer for summer reading program, similar vibe. Whereas, like, I think we both enjoyed that, but it wasn't like, wow. Mm-hmm. This we nailed it on the head, I feel like, for our PSL pick. And this one is the sides for Thanksgiving, and we're sitting down with these 2, hearing about their stories, very different stories. And I'm excited about that. I haven't read El Deafo at all. I know it's very popular. I just sort of never got around to it, but here I am. So,
well, then here we go. Yeah, it'll be great.
Awesome.
So yeah, check us out next Sunday, same time, same place. Let us know if you've read any of these books. Just any at all. Any books in general. Have you read them? Let us know.
Keep us posted.
Yeah. And I think that's it. We did it.
We can't wait to see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. Bar, sorry if this caused you clinical depression. Please get back to us. Let us know what you think.
Yep. And
give it a shot.
Have a great Sunday, everyone.
Yeah.
And bye, Danny. Sorry you popped in at the end.
Oh, no. Hi, Danny. Bye, Danny.